Welcome to this week's SAU report. I'm Richard Gamble.
And I'm Petronia Dixon.
Today we have with us Ms. Paula Woods, Director of Counseling and Testing. So what does your job do?
Thank you both for inviting me and giving the opportunity to talk about the services of the counseling and testing. I see that it's evolved into three functions. We work career counseling, personal counseling, or group counseling is one function that we provide to students who may be having some emotional problems and they need to talk with someone. So that's one of the services. We also do testing with students, not in the traditional sense of that we test you to see if you're crazy or not. And I think a lot of students have that type of connotation about the office, but it's not like that. Most of our testing, if it's in terms of a counseling situation, then it's something to determine what would best meet your needs to help you as a student. The testing part, we do more of the standardized testing like the ACT or the Praxis or the CAP, I'm sure that you've heard of. And one other function that we do is disability. We help those students who might have a disability to gain accommodations in the classroom so that they can be successful just like any other students. So those are probably the three main functions that we provide.
And along with that, how many people help you to make this a successful function?
Well, there are 2 full-time people in the office along with myself. We have another counselor, Beth Scroggins, and we also have our full-time secretary, Bevelyn Rowden, and we have about 3 to 4 work-study students who work with us, and all of them are very important in helping us run the office.
In counseling, what types of approaches do you use?
In terms of the techniques, it really depends on, from a counselor standpoint, each counselor have their own counseling style. And not to be technical, but it's mostly a Rogerian style where my style is that we try to get the student to be comfortable, share their problem, and let them be the one who work out a solution to their problem with maybe some intervention from the counselor.
So exactly what made you decide to come to SAU instead of all the other schools?
Well, it was more of a personal choice. My husband wanted to return back to the community that he grew up with, and being his wife, I came with him.
Had to follow along with the family.
Follow along with the family.
Do you feel that this school provides enough work study or financial aid for students?
Well, in terms of, that's kind of based on your the school's allotment and things of that nature. So from what I know that students can't always find a job, but sometimes it's maybe not the job that they want. But I think SAU does a good job of providing work study and regular money for those students who need and want a job. We may not meet all the needs of students, but I think we do a good job of meeting the majority.
So what are your opinions on teaching other classes? Would you ever decide to do another field besides just counseling, like math or history or science or anything?
If I had the qualification, yes, but unfortunately, no. I do teach freshman seminar and a career planning class, and I really enjoy those classes because a freshman seminar to me is a helping class of helping students prepare to be successful in college, becoming that master student. So it's an extension of counseling where you helping students to learn some time management skills, some memorization skills, note-taking, whatever. Career planning, I like that class because it's part of the job. You're helping a student maybe who's undecided about a career or occupation or what they want to major in to help them come to that decision or at least open up the avenues for them to explore those areas.
So what made you pick this profession?
I've always liked helping people, and counseling seemed was the best way to do that. It's a helping profession. You have to like people. You have to want to help them. So counseling aligned with my goals of that.
And we've heard there have been a few changes around campus. They've been moving y'all back around from one building to the other. How do you like your new office?
Oh, I love it. I love it. In terms of, we have more space, which allows us to provide more services. In the past, we've been limited in terms of the testing. We could not do computer-based testing. That's one of the things that we are planning to do. Right now, we do offer the MAT test, which is the Miller Analogy Test on computer, and that's something we have not done in the past. We're looking forward to offering other tests on computer, such as the CLEP, the Praxis 1, the GRE, and maybe the TOEFL. So that's our long-range goals. We have more space to serve the different clienteles.
So, as a teacher, what's the biggest challenge that you feel that students face?
Well, it depends on that students face. As freshmen, and that's mostly what I deal with, I would say that a lot of them as a freshman may question if they have the ability to do college work. So it's motivating them and letting them know that they can accomplish whatever goals. Students also have to, I think, challenge themselves of balancing school work, because a lot of students work. So I think one of the major problems that they may encounter is time management and prioritizing what's important to them.
Do you think that with the student responsibilities, with you being in the new building and by the activity center being right down the hall, that the students are more likely to come to you now that they're closer than you were in the older building where they had to walk all the way from the buildings?
Well, I don't think the location really matters. I think it's more the student need. Of course, we're accessible, and when we were in Nelson Hall, we were close to academic advising, employment resource center, and so our crowd level was okay. And you must remember, we also was in Bruce Center at one time when the student life and the student activity building was there. So we've always kind of been in the center of things. So it's just really, if we offer the service that a student needs, and it's really just getting our name out that we are there and that students can come, and that what they tell us is confidential and what they relate.
What do you think of the overall atmosphere of SAU since the new buildings have?
I think students are excited. I mean, I've heard students say, you know, we look like a real campus now, you know, and you know, when people feel good about the campus, then that makes them think they're on a college campus, so I'm here for a purpose, so I'm going to learn. So I think the new building is going to be tremendous, and the other buildings that's being planned on campus is going to really make us think that we are a university.
So along with the new building, I see we have a new parking lot and we have new apartments. What is your opinion on the parking lot space and the new village apartments?
It's all good for us, you know, and I know students still complain we can't park, but like we say a lot of times, it's a convenience. You know, I would love to park right in front of my building, okay, but that's not always possible, but I can find a parking lot. So I think it's the parking space, and if you drive by at night and look at the lights over there, you really think you're in a big city, don't you? And it's safer. The university parking, it gives the university apartments just give people a choice of where they want to live, and we haven't always been able to offer that.
How do you think the campus have changed since you've been here, negatively and positively?
Nothing but good things. I mean, we've had a lot of buildings torn down, but a lot of buildings that's gone up. We've expanded probably a lot of services that we haven't offered before. I think the university makes a real effort to work with the student and to ensure that the student reach their goals. And I believe your goals is to get a college education and a degree.
How do you feel that the village apartments would reflect the dorm life? Do you feel that it's advantage to stay over there? Or do you feel like it would be better if they stayed on the dorm life as far as academic grades and stuff would go? Which one do you prefer?
I mean, that's a personal choice, and for a student, and that's something that you have to evaluate. For some students, personally, I think if you start with the resident life, then that gives you a feel of being on campus. That forces you to get involved with things on campus. And then maybe when you reach like a junior, senior, you know, you've had the campus life, you might want a quieter environment. But I really think that's a personal choice as to whether or not which one suits you.
What do you think of the celebration of lights tradition?
I think that's a wonderful opportunity for the university and the community to come together. And we've been doing that, for the past 5, 6
few
years.
years.
And each year it gets bigger and better. This year, with rentals being the focus, many people who have not had an opportunity to come on campus probably visited and toured the area. And that just draws people to the campus, potential students.
Do you feel that the Celebration of Lights being a good organization and all the rest of the organizations are beneficial to the campus?
Right. Organizations play a part on the campus. It's a way for students to get involved. It's a way for students to develop leadership skills. It's a way for students to give back to the community. Whether you're in an academic, social, or fraternity or sorority, it's just a way for students to get involved. And they enhance. You know, you attract students, attract other students. And if they see it's a place where they can be involved and make a difference, then it's a benefit.
Do you feel that financial aid should be increased or stay the same? Or
Well, of course, everybody can use money, but you know, a lot of that is set by the government, and we have to go with what the government says. So, you know, the allotment is preset based on the population of your school. Of course, if you go to a larger school, it may be more, but they can offer more scholarships or whatever. But of course, everybody wants more financial aid. Everybody wants more in a paycheck.
What about the prices of things as far as textbooks and students have the required number? Do you think the prices have a big effect on the students buying books, or do you think it's just that they don't feel that they need the books as often as they would in any other classes?
Again, I think that's a personal choice. Of course, textbooks rise. I mean, when I was in school, we thought they were quite high, you know, and so that's just one of the things. But a textbook, if your instructor or your professor requires a textbook, then I think you need the textbook, you know. And so it's, you know, and there are other ways, you know, there are used textbooks. You can go in with a partner and share a lot of information you can get off the internet now. So, you know, cost of a textbook should not limit you in getting your education.
So, how did you get your start at counseling, or where?
Well, I started out working in Little Rock, and I work with an agency where we help individuals who needed career skills. That's where I started out. And then I worked with SAU Tech. I work as a dislocated worker counselor, and that was for individuals who had been laid off their work to help them to decide what to do. And then I migrated here to SAU in Magnolia.
So how long have you been here at the MU right around the
I've
field?
been here about 12 years.
Do you enjoy interacting with students?
Oh, yes. That's important. I mean, that's what you spend your job with, you know, whether it's dealing with them on a personal relationship as a counselor, or it's dealing with them in organization. I enjoy being around students. I also work with the Upward Bound program, which allows me to keep in contact with the 10th and 11th, 12th graders to see what's going on with them.
Richard mentioned being around students and you enjoying it, but how does that affect your family life? Do you have any kids, and is their time affected with that?
Well, it goes back to prioritizing. You know, family is very important to me. So sometimes they do come before the job. Sometimes the job comes before them. But you try to do a balance in that. I have 2 boys. One of my sons is active in basketball. So twice a week I have to go to a basketball game. And so, you know, you just balance, you know, and that may be that I go to basketball game and come back here, or come in early. You just balance, and that's when my mother said, you do what you got to do.
Yeah. So, what types of events do you like attending?
Here on campus? Well, just about. I mean, we enjoy going in and do presentations in the residence halls to at least tell people about the different services that we do. We also, I attend a lot of committee meetings. That takes up some time. Just about anything that's on campus. I like going to the lectures that we have on campus. whether I'm interested in it or not, you can always go and learn something about it. And so that exposure education, because the education is just not in the classroom, you know, it takes place outside the classroom, so we must expose ourselves to those things.
Do you feel the activities that we have now are pretty kept up with the activities that they had when you were in high school and college? Do you feel that they have the same ones, or they're improving? Or
Well, you have more in terms of activities, and you have to, and because you maybe, well, ASU was larger, but at the time, maybe not a lot was going on, or we didn't take advantage. But now I think everything is probably offered here, other than a major concert. But, you know, again, that's okay. I think we're competitive in what we offer students. We just have to take advantage of it.
If you weren't a counselor, what other profession would pick?
Anything, probably a social worker, because that still would be helping people. So anything that would be in the helping field. I do like, I learn as I mature, of working in an educational setting like a school. You couldn't tell me that when I was in school, but now I see that. I do like that. I like working with young people and having an influence on them, a positive one, I hope.
you said you have 2 boys that are growing up. What's the age range on them right now?
17 and 12.
So what would you prefer as them in school? I know it's up to them totally what they want to do, but if you had to encourage them, what school would you pick for them?
I don't have a particular school. I want them to go where they're going to be comfortable, because I think that's where they'll be successful. If I choose the school, then
They won't be as happy.
they won't be
wanna
happy,
go.
you know. So one that's going to give them a quality education is important. One where they can develop themselves and become to know themselves as
are.
a person, and then one that we can afford.
So, you mentioned something about the CAPS test. Could you elaborate on that more and tell the students how important that is to?
Okay. The CAP test is not a SAU test. Okay. It is a test that our legislators require that students who have between 45 and 60 hours take. It's an assessment of how well the school is teaching and how well the student is doing. And from that, then the school looks at its curriculum and make changes, and the student look at themselves and make changes. And I know students don't like the CAP test, but it's not something that the school give just to be given. It's a requirement. And we hope from the information that we gather that we can make SAU even a better school through our academic programs.
But do you feel that the tests are accurate? Because, I mean, some days, just like in the students, you may get up today and say, I'm not having a good day, and take the test and may not do as well. Another day, if you take it in the evening, and you're in a better mood and you've been up and you're energetic and your body maybe function different, do you think the tests are accurate even in the person being the moods like that?
Well, it's just like any standardized test. You know, if you know you have to take it, it has to be taken. You have to prepare yourself. And we try to offer a test. We try to offer tests where we can meet people's schedule, keeping in mind that we're not going to make anyone 100%. But research usually shows that a person is more alert in the morning. Not everybody, but mostly. So that's when the test is given, and we know it's long, so we try to give breaks along with it. But it's a standardized test, and in a standardized test, you have certain rules and regulations that you have to follow. There's preparation. Mr. McKeel always gives the English proficiency workshops, and in the past, we have offered like math workshop for those students who are interested in attending. So the school does try to give students preparation.
Yeah. So, preparation. So, what other preparations can students
Make them their own.
Make them their own.
Well, of course, attend the workshop. We have information in the office that kind of give you an idea of what's going to be covered on the CAP. The CAP is just a general exam similar to the ACT, so you have experience with that, with knowing what's going to be. It's not a test on specific information. It's a test on on information that you have learned through the years. And so it's applying those skills that you have learned.
Okay. What about the safety of the schools? How do you feel that they're safe? I know there's a few times where at every school we have the breaking and entering, we have the fire alarms and stuff. How do you think that the safety is as far as the lighting on the parking lots maybe? Do you think it's equivalent?
I think that each year that we improve on that. If you look back 5 or 6 years into some areas where there wasn't lighting, that a great effort has been made to make the campus safe. The lighting, I know each semester the university staff walk around and just note where potential problems might arise and then work to solve those problems. I mean, the college sometimes is a mirror of society, so safety is always going to be a problem, but we also have to take measures to ensure that we make things as safe as possible. You know, locking your car, taking your valuables out of your car or put them out of sight, locking your residence hall, those things, you know. The school is going to do its part, then we need to do our part.
What about the safety as far as in the dorms as the fire alarms? I've heard some students say that they go off like 2 o'clock in the morning just by students pulling them. I mean, what do we think that we can do to improve the fire safety where we know for a difference?
Well, I mean, it's not a malfunction of the fire alarm, so someone is
Actually pulling them.
Okay, so if you know,
relocate them or...
Well, no, I mean, the fire alarms have to be where they are because I'm pretty sure that's some type of standard, I mean, safety issues that they have to be placed there. So they can't be relocated because then we'd probably be out of compliance with whatever regulation. But, you know, maybe we can educate students why it's important not to play with fire alarms. And then if you know, you students talk, so if you know, somebody's going to say, hey, I pulled that alarm, you know, maybe educate them not to do that because you are putting people at risk.
Yeah, because they could get somebody hurt. You know what I'm saying?
Because I know it's been a few days where the fire alarm go off. I'm like, oh, please. And I don't get up. And then when we do have the practice drills, you never really know the difference because me, I'm pretty much, if I'm in the bed, if I know it's not an emergency, I'm not going to move. But if you don't know the difference, it does make it difficult, especially living on the dorms.
Right. And in instances like that, it's better to just be safe, so follow the alarm. You know, and if it's a malfunction, I know there's work to try to resolve that problem. But if it's a student or students doing it, then that's another issue.
So, when you were in school, is it different? Do you feel like it's different from students now and then?
I think, again, one of the things that I've noticed that more students work, so there's a greater demand now. And the reason why they work is many and varied. So that's one of the things that I see, that more students work. And so because of that, maybe not as much time is devoted to academics that may be required. And so they have that balanced power. We also have a lot of non-traditional students who are returning back, which was not that many when I was going to school. In terms of you're more mobile. We were kind of confined to the college. Once mom and dad dropped you off, you were there. Most of you have cars, so you're more mobile. You're more able to get out and do things. Of course, you have computer technology. We were on the typewriter, so those things are only for the best.
So we would like to thank you for being here today, Ms. Woods, and
It's been just a pleasure to have someone here that can tell and share their issues on what's going on in the campus, because a lot of times we don't know about the different centers like counseling and testing. For the disability, I remember a lot of people may not know about that or may be too ashamed, but now that they know that you can be confidential, then it's just been a good experience, and we thank you for coming out.
Thank you for having me.
And we thank y'all for watching the SAU Report. My name is Petronia Dixon.
I'm Richard Gamble.